My ex-wife and I adopted our son when he was 6. We'd been his foster parents for 3 years and we wanted to make it official. Son met his wife when he was 18. She knew he was adopted and she thought it would be good for him to get to know his biological parents. Over the next few years, my ex-wife and I were slowly pushed out of his life. When they got married, we only received a wedding invitation. We were not part of the wedding party. His biological parents and their spouses sat at the family table. As a result, we've not had the opportunity to meet our granddaughter and she's a toddler now. I'm sad about the situation, but my ex-wife is heartbroken. I hate to see her hurt when all she did was try and be a good mom. I'm not a fan of my daughter-in-law and I wish she'd never come into our lives. Recently, they've run into financial problems and they lost their home. My job's son is in our city and his biological parents and in-laws all live in other cities. He called my ex-wife to ask if they could stay with us while they got back on their feet. I said no. My ex-wife wants to, but I refuse to be used. He's been distancing himself from us for 9 years now. The only reason he called was that he was desperate. I don't think I owe him anything. I offered to pay for whatever it costs him to move his family to the cities where his real family is. His wife called me to scream at me. He says that I'm abandoning my son and grandchild. I said that since he doesn't think of us as parents when they got married and had a child, then they shouldn't think of us that way now. Then I blocked her. My ex-wife says that I'm being too harsh and that I need to forgive them. But here's the thing, I don't think it will change anything. And what will happen is that they will live in our home, then abandon my wife again as soon as the chance presents itself. Edit. He was removed from his biological parents because they were very young and it wasn't a good situation. My ex-wife and I are divorced. She's in an extended care facility and he can't live there. I kept our home. I'm still friends with her and we see the kids together as a family. I still care deeply for her, but she didn't want me to deal with her condition. Our son didn't even know we'd separated when he called her. Not the idiot. He's been pushing you away for 9 years for his bio parents. He's clearly indicated you are not his parents. He doesn't get to randomly come back and majorly disrupt your lives because he's in a bad position now. He would 100% be using you and his wife sounds awful. You were more than generous to offer to pay for them to relocate. I understand your wife wanting to bring him back, but it sounds like he has no remorse over how he was treated you all for almost a decade. Son's wife sounds like one of those who enter a situation and immediately decides that she knows what's best and bulldozes everything that came before. The fact that his wife would call screaming at you illustrates that she still has absolutely no clue what they've done to you and your ex-wife. So why would you expect that behavior to change? Agree, you raised him from 3 years old to adulthood. That should have meant something to him. It should have meant enough to at least keep you in the loop on his life. But his actions say that it wasn't enough for even that. It's never a good idea to allow anyone, even your own child, to use you, especially after they've treated you with such disregard. And given your summary at straight value, that's exactly what he and his wife seem to want to do. So his bio parents weren't in the picture, but now they reap the reward of having their adult son and his family in their lives, while you've never even been able to meet your toddler granddaughter. You live in the same city and you've never seen her. They don't care about you. After abandoning you and your wife, calling you to ask for help is outrageous. At this point, I consider going no contact to lessen your pain. His former son, since he went no contact by his own choice, and his family are total idiots here. They're trying to use OP and his ex-wife. OP's ex-wife is upset because, as I'm sure you know and agree, she desperately hopes her former son will suddenly love them again, which I think is about as likely as you know we're freezing over while pigs fly overhead. Users don't care a bit about their targets. And yeah, his former son's wife disgusts me completely. When my wife, 28, and I, 32 male, were still dating, we had this thing where we said before every anniversary we would divorce each other so we could get married again and go on another honeymoon. We've been doing this for the past 3 years. I have a reminder on my calendar named Prepare for Divorce 6 months before, so I start booking flights, thinking about taking time off, etc. Silly, but yeah. A while back we were out with a few of her friends. At some point in the night I excused myself but left my phone on the table. I noticed after I got back that one of her friends, Kim, who's normally pretty okay with me since we play games together, was strangely cold to me, but I thought they might just have been tired. Long story short, the reminder just happened to pop up while I was away, and Kim saw it. They then started telling all of my wife's friends and met up with my wife to tell her the bad news. She was equally confused and embarrassed, but eventually cleared the misunderstanding up. I am pretty unhappy with Kim for violating my privacy and not trying to clarify the situation before blowing it up. My wife understands where I'm coming from, but says Kim was trying to protect her. Kim thinks I'm an idiot for having something like that on my phone and refuses to apologize. My wife's friends are split. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She should have spoken to you or your wife if she was so concerned, not spread it around everyone like a high schooler dishing the latest gossip on who slept with whom. That was beyond childish. There was no protection in spreading your personal situation to everyone you knew. She wanted to spread gossip, period. Your wife needs to understand that too. OMG, she shouldn't have been looking at your phone, full stop. Again, nosy gossiper. Kim chose to tell everyone about this juicy scoop, and now she's embarrassed that she got it wrong. She made an idiot out of herself and she knows it. That's why she's salty. My SO and I always joke about divorce, so I get it. Weird to put it in your phone, but you do you, I guess. Commitment to the bit. But yeah, I think you are the idiot and overreacting. She wasn't being mean or malicious, and it's not like she went through your phone. It just popped up when she was near it. It's actually nice of Kim to stick up for your wife so much. If I saw that by accident, I'd have a million questions and would assume preparing meant meeting lawyers, etc. Of course, no one would ever see that and assume it was a joke. I, 42 female, told my 19-year-old daughter, who currently lives with her fiancé, 36 male, that she must either choose her soon-to-be husband or us. Unfortunately, who she met when she was newly turned 18 at her father's 49 male business conference. He's made it seem like we're the bad guys who don't want them together, but that's not it. We don't want them together because of who she's become. She's now distant and only gives us bland replies, which we know he's indoctrinated her with. She hasn't spoken to her father because she doesn't want work issues between them, which again wouldn't happen. Instead, he lavishes her with materialistic gifts to manipulate her into loving him or his company. He proposed to her just after a year of their relationship. Recently, we invited her and him over because we know she wouldn't come if we didn't invite him. However, she still declined and told us she was going to his family's cabin. We told her they could come a couple of days later, but she still declined. That's when I called and told her, "This isn't going to be tolerated by your father or me any longer." I informed her that she must either respect our wishes or his, and she just told us to sleep because we seemed sleep-deprived from the foolish questions we were asking. I haven't spoken to her since 3 days ago, but am I the idiot for giving her this ultimatum? You are the idiot for making her choose because it sounds like she doesn't have a choice. This man has a million red flags and is clearly trying to ensure all family and friends shut her out and stop contact, a clear sign of an abuser. They stop contact with everyone, so she's stuck in the relationship and has no one else to turn to. In my opinion, I would apologize and say you're always here for her no matter what, because ultimately that could be her lifeline. My mom told me that she got mixed up with my awful dad because she desperately wanted to leave her repressive parents. She jumped into a relationship with the first guy that showed her any interest. Within a year, she got pregnant twice and had me a month after her 18th birthday. She stayed, in part, due to her parents' reactions. I honestly can't help but think she entered a relationship with a much older man for his ability to get her away from you. OP, I think your child needs your help and support now more than ever. She's not okay. As you know, she's in a very unhealthy relationship, and she's just a kid, but legally an adult, so there's nothing you can do about that, except refuse to allow him to isolate her. Don't help that idiot. Be there for her even if you don't like her choice. It's going to end, but she won't have anywhere to turn. Do not help him isolate her. Let her know you disagree with her choice, yes, but that you love her and will always support her. And then do not talk about it. I'm a 30-year-old female. My sister Hannah, 19, has been dating Austin, 20, for 3 years. They have a toddler daughter together. Family emergencies came up 3 months ago and they needed somewhere to stay. To put it lightly, I was the only safe option, so I told them they could stay here temporarily. I laid out ground rules, knowing how Austin is, incredibly lazy. Austin was to keep working full-time and only miss a day of sick. When he was home, he was to do his fair share of the housework. I told them they didn't have to pay rent, so they would be helping in other ways. My sister works for me in my business and she can bring my niece with her. I help watch her throughout the day. I have the house stuff split equally and on a rotating schedule. So like we all cook dinner in a rotation of me, Hannah and then Austin, repeat. Cleaning the bathroom, same rotation, etc, etc. There aren't many chores, just dinner, dishes and bathroom. Well, lately Austin has been a little idiot, to put it lightly. He starts getting angry if he has to do anything when he gets home from work. 6 hours, 4 days a week at a sub sandwich shop. If he's making dinner that night, he almost always starts yelling at my sister and saying, "Damn it, Hannah, will you just come do this? I need to walk away." And then he'll go outside and smoke for half an hour and just have my sister do his chore. Finally, I start putting my foot down because this guy won't hold his kid so my sister can eat or bathe. When he does take his child, he'll put her on the floor in front of him and leave her crying while he plays video games. I've had enough. So yesterday, he pulled the same crap. Tried to get out of dinner by yelling to my sister to do it. I immediately stepped in and said no. If he was going to be here, he wouldn't be using the "I can't do this" weaponized incompetence BS. He can do it, he's simply lazy. I told him it ends now. He's going to be doing his chores. He'll be helping out with his kid, or he will start paying me the full rent of what a room would be in the area, $650, if he wants to stay here. Later on, he told my sister he was moving out because I was a dumb witch and treated him like a child and got her all worked up, so she's panicking and asking me to understand that he's just burnt out. Am I the idiot? Massive not the idiot. Firstly, he's still a child. Sucks that they decided to have a baby when he's clearly not responsible enough to support his wife or the baby. Secondly, this is your place, and your rules were not wrong. Your sister should not have to be a mum to both him and her daughter. Lastly, he is an idiot for behaving like this. Call his bluff. Tell him he has 2 weeks to be out of the house. My sister had Austin a decade ago. I can only hope she comes to her senses and leaves this idiot. A lot of people date an Austin at one point or another. It's just regrettable that OP's sister ended up pregnant by one. OP, talk with your sister. Would it really be the worst thing if this man moved out? He yells at her. He curses at her. He's neglectful of their child. Sounds like life would be much more peaceful if your sister and niece stayed with you and he moved far away. If it's clear she's not ready to see him as a bad guy, suggest he move out. Maybe living somewhere else for a while will give him the break he needs. She might be open to the idea if it's just temporary. Then, if your sister gets some space from him, she'll realize that her life is better without him. It must be heartbreaking to see your sister settle for this. Have you talked to your sister about the relationship they have? Any idea what she sees in someone who behaves uncaringly towards her and her child? I have a feeling there will be the same issues 5, 10, 20 years from now and just another guy. So, my female 23, twin brother 23 and his girlfriend 21 are going to have a baby and they found out that it's going to be a girl. So when they were asked what they would name their baby, they said they planned to name it Amelia. I wasn't happy about this, but I wanted to give them a chance to explain themselves, so I asked why they would give their baby that name. My brother's girlfriend said that she has a co-worker with that name and that she loved it because of how unique and quirky it was. This really upsets me, and her reasoning for giving her that name made me even angrier because I was hoping to name a future daughter of mine Amelia after a late childhood friend who passed away from cancer when we were 12. Her name is significant to me because Amelia and I promised that if she was going to pass away, I would name my daughter after her, so that she could be remembered and would officially be part of my family. It's even worse in my opinion, because this is no secret, and my brother knows about that promise. I've talked about it multiple times beforehand. So I voiced my disagreement over the name and told them why I didn't particularly appreciate them naming their baby that, and asked if there was any way that we could pick a different name for their baby. But they told me I was entitled about it and said they wouldn't change their mind about it because I don't have the right to claim the name, especially after they had a daughter first. They don't know if I'll ever have a daughter in the future anyways. My brother did try to compromise by stating that he'll be the one to uphold the promise for me and that he'll make sure that Amelia would be properly remembered. But I told him that won't work because I was the one that Amelia asked to make that promise, and it wasn't going to be the same since he never made that promise to her. However, in the end, they insisted on naming their future daughter Amelia, and I just walked away in anger over the whole thing. I haven't talked to them for about a week, and I've intentionally avoided them because I really don't want to deal with them. But friends and family are telling me that they really are disappointed in me, that I'm acting so childish, and to get over myself over a name, and to apologise to my brother and his girlfriend over making a scene about it. Am I the idiot? And should I apologise to them? You are the idiot. You should apologise. You may never have a daughter, and you cannot dictate their name. If you do have a daughter, you can still name her Amelia after your friend. Tell them this when you apologise. If they don't want two Amelias in the family, they can do something about it. What exactly is OP supposed to apologise for? The brother made a decision that hurt them, so they distanced themselves. Of course, OP can still name a future daughter that. Of course, OP can't stop them from using the name, but that also doesn't mean they have to play happy families with their brother and his kid. OP, you're not doing anything wrong. If you feel hurt enough by your brother's decisions that you don't want to speak to him, then don't. If your brother decides that the name is more important than his relationship with you, that's his choice. I normally don't agree with saving a name, but in your case and the meaning and your brother knowing this, you are not the idiot. But may I offer a suggestion for you to keep your promise? Amélie is the original French version of the name, and Amalia is the German, and Delia is the Greek. They are all beautiful, like your friendship with your friend, but would give your baby something just a little unique so she can have a little of her own as well. Also, I'm a bit petty, so I would call their baby Amy or another variation.